What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of terror, an act of antisemitism, an attack on the first day of Hanukkah, targeted at the Jewish community. We are stronger than the cowards who did this. The government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. Tougher gun laws including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals.
For nearly 30 years, Australia's firearm regulations have been regarded as some of the toughest and most successful anywhere in the world. Following the 1996 Port Arthur mass shooting in Tasmania, which claimed 35 lives, the Conservative government of the time confronted strong opposition from gun lobby groups and enacted sweeping reforms that significantly reduced the number of guns in circulation. Australians have long been proud of these reforms, believing they keep the country safer from gun violence and mass shootings. However, December 14th's attack at a Hanukkah event on Sydney's Bondi beach is likely to rattle that sense of security and could prompt renewed national scrutiny of existing gun laws. Police informed that one of the suspected attackers was a licensed firearm owner who possessed 6 guns obtained illegally. Australian media have identified the suspects in the deadly attack at Sydney's Bondi beach as a father and son, 50-year-old Sajid Akram and his 24-year-old son, Naveed Akram. Authorities have not officially named the Akrams, but have shared details in media briefings. The younger suspect was Australian-born, while his father, who died in a shootout with police, migrated to Australia in 1998, Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said. Police carried out raids on properties linked to the pair in December, including a short-term rental in Campsie, where they are believed to have stayed before the attack, according to CNN. Police said the 24-year-old remains hospitalized and is expected to face criminal charges in connection with the shooting. The shooting at Sydney's Bondi beach left 15 people dead and 27 hospitalized. A bystander who disarmed one of the attackers has been identified as Ahmed al-Ahmed, the son of Syrian refugees who had recently arrived in Australia. The 43-year-old met New South Wales Premier Chris Minns on December 15th, who hailed him as a real-life hero, saying his bravery in disarming the attacker saved countless lives. The authorities classified the incident as a terrorist attack aimed at Jewish Australians. Victims ranged in age from 10 to 87, including a Holocaust survivor who was killed while trying to protect his wife from the gunfire. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called for stricter nationwide gun laws following the mass shooting on Bondi Beach. He said the government would move to introduce new measures, including limits on how many firearms a licensed individual can own. The government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws, Prime Minister Albanese told reporters. He also warned that circumstances can shift over time, and individuals may become radicalized, arguing that firearm permits should not be permanent. He said, and I quote, "People's circumstances can change. People can be radicalized over a period of time. Licenses should not be in perpetuity."
We are extending the funding for the National Council for Jewish Community Security and its state-based community security groups to provide overall security cover to the Jewish community as part of that. That is included in my EFO, but we're preempting that announcement today. That's also for capital works and can be utilised for guarding costs incurred by individual Jewish organisations across Australia We're also working with Jewish community organisations to see how we can best support charity efforts, including through tax-deductible status for donations, and we're doing work on that. The government will also quickly work through the process of a declaration under the Terrorism and Cyclone Insurance Act that would ensure that insurance companies are able to pay out to local businesses for eligible losses. We're also working on support for funerals that will be held, but also visitor visas for people who are relatives wishing to visit Australia for the funerals, and I'll ask the Minister to comment on that. I do want to make a couple of more points as well. This morning I met with police who were on the scene last night, some of whom had been up all night. These are brave people, many people who were off-duty police, headed towards Bondi last night from as far away as Newcastle and the Central Coast. They did so because of their commitment to their fellow Australians and the diligence that they show. And I think we need to recognise their incredible work at a time as well when 2 police officers have been seriously injured as a result of the efforts and bravery that they have shown. What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of terror, an act of antisemitism, an attack on the first day of Hanukkah targeted at the Jewish community. A dark day in Australia's history on what should have been a day of light. And visiting the scene there at Bondi this morning, it was a very physical reminder of the iconic status of Bondi Beach and the Bondi Pavilion. I opened that pavilion after the refurbishment just a couple of years ago. It is a historic place. And the fact that this was a venue for this act of evil that was clearly calculated by these perpetrators is just an outrage and a shock to the community. One of the things that is coming through, though, is that the community want to be able to express their support and solidarity. And I would urge and join with others who have urged Australians across the country to light a candle, put it in their front window tonight at 6:47 p.m. to show that light will indeed defeat darkness, part of what Hanukkah celebrates, of course. We are stronger than the cowards who did this. And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences should not be in perpetuity. And checks, of course, making sure that those checks and balances are in place as well. I'll take to National Cabinet this afternoon a proposal to empower agencies to examine what can be done in this area. Quite clearly, the Howard government's gun laws have made an enormous difference in Australia and are a proud moment of reform, quite rightly, achieved across the Parliament with bipartisan support. If we need to toughen these up, if there's anything we can do, I'm certainly up for it, and I hope to get National Cabinet on board for that this afternoon as well.